Hello and welcome to another constructed video here on Magic the Gathering Arena. So as I mentioned last time, I think black-red, aggro, mid-range, whatever you want to call it, is the best deck in the format. But as I'm recording this, we've just had an SCG Invitational, which obviously features 8 rounds of Standard, and one of the other decks or archetypes that is starting to do well is blue-based Control. There are apparently a lot of ways to build this. We've seen, like, solidly blue-white with a little bit of black. This version is the other way around. It's mostly a blue-black control deck with just a little bit of white. And we've seen straight blue-black or blue-white decks. Anyway, the key feature is that you want to play Disallow, Glimmer of Genius, and Torrential Gearhulk. So I'm going to fire this up and see if it feels nearly as good as the black-red deck, which I still think is just an excellent choice in general. As far as control decks go, this is pretty straightforward. You have lots of answer cards. Fatal Push, Cast Down, Doomfall, and Vraska's Contempt are all removal. If something makes it to the board, you get rid of it. You have lots of counters, Syncopate, Essence Scatter, Negate, and the full 4 Disallow. Disallow also a pseudo-removal spell sometimes against Planeswalkers, because if your opponent gets greedy and tries to ultimate their Planeswalker, you can stifle that ultimate with the Disallow and really get them. And then you have card advantage. You have Search for Azcanta, which is probably my favorite way to generate card advantage. It just sits there and wins you the game without having to tap out on turn 5 for it. Teferi, who really is an excellent Planeswalker, he generates tons of card advantage without actually tapping you down, since he untaps some of your lands. He can handle actual anything, just put it back on top of their library. And then Torrential Gearhulk, who is one of my least favorite cards in Standard because it feels so bad when your control opponent just passes with 6 mana and says go. And you're like, yeah, I have to attack in with my 2 creatures, and then they flash back a Vraska's Contempt on one and eat the other, and it just all feels hopeless. But yeah, this deck seems really solid. It can answer basically anything, and has lots of good ways to get ahead, so that seems pretty good. Over to the sideboard, we have... one of the things about Control is that it got a lot better once they introduced competitive constructed best of 3 matches on Arena, because you have things like 4 Vraska's Contempt. If my opponent's playing blue-white Control with Approach of the Second Sun, this card's basically dead. And it's the same with Fatal Push. This is even more dead. And so, Control decks really need to sideboard a lot more than aggro decks do. So we have Duress and Negate for shoring things up against Control decks. We have some more removal, like Fungal Infection, if opponent has a lot of X1 creatures, like Earthshaker Kenra. Cast Down, Forsake the Worldly, Essence Extraction, just shifting your removal suite to have the ideal one. And then 4 Glint Sleeve Siphoner. This is the type of thing that involves a little bit of mind gaming. Basically, you need to decide if your opponent, who you only board this in against slower opponents, and you need to decide, are they likely to board out all their removal? Because obviously, Fatal Push has literally 0 targets in our main deck. We don't even, like, have a Scarab God bringing back opponents' small creatures. There's just absolutely nothing to target with it. And so if they board out all their things like Fatal Pushes, Glint Sleeve Siphoner can just go to town and get really far ahead. Okay, I think that just about covers everything here. So I'm going to hop into a competitive constructed league. Odd thing about these is you can play up to 6 matches here, which is a lot. That's even more than a constructed league on Magic Online. So this could take a while. Obviously, you can look down and know how long this video is going, but I don't really know yet. Another thing that's kind of odd is the nature of the Magic the Gathering Arena timer. Because it's not one big clock that only goes down, it's like 4 turns and it goes up and down, depending on how quickly you're taking actions. Games don't actually have to end. Like, eventually people are likely to deck out, but theoretically, like, the game could just go on for hours. This hand's pretty good. I hope my opponent's on some sort of creature deck, because I have removal, but yeah, this looks good. Okay, opponent's playing green, which is in itself kind of interesting, because I just played another constructedly. Okay. Well, that's kind of annoying. I would have really liked to just syncopate that, but didn't work out that way. I'm probably going to end up taking a lot of damage from this because I want to leave up syncopate, counter what else my opponent's doing. Okay. That's really gross. Think I'm going to syncopate that? Alright. My opponent doesn't have any creatures in the yard yet, so I am going to be able to kill this and it'll stay dead, at least for a little while. Trying to decide what I want to do. I think I want to play this because I am going to need white mana for Teferi. I'm just going to pass for the moment. I can take a few more hits here, and I would like to cycle this turn. I really need to get something going. So I think I'm okay taking one more hit. I'll go ahead and cycle out Fetid Pools, hopefully find something sweet, like a Disallow or something. You know what? That'll do. That's also a good card. I think I am going to go Shields Down on this for the moment. I think I really do want to get this Doomfall down. Because I'm not sure what my opponent's doing, and that inherently makes me a little more scared of it. So we'll see what's happening here. Oh, okay, they're just a really heavy green deck and their mana wasn't working out. Interesting. So, of these cards, this doesn't really scare me because I'm going to be able to cast it down. This is the same way. This is just a dirtily creature. They're also very far from casting this. Blossoming Defense is good to know about. I'm going to take the Ronas. I'm glad that I didn't burn a Fatal Push before. Now, my opponent's very incentivized to Field of Ruin me here because they want to be able to cast this Bronodon. They need to get another Forest. And when they do, for a moment, they will be tapped out of green, and I'll get to push this Scrounger. Cool. Yep. So this is going to go down. That's fine. Oh man, I don't think this deck actually has any basic planes in it. Oh, it doesn't. That's brutal. Ugh. I just took this list from online and wasn't really thinking about it. And it is very light on white. It just doesn't have a lot of white cards, and so that seemed fine at the time, but that's just really awful that someone can just Field of Ruin you off white and there's nothing you can do about it. This deck should definitely have a basic planes. Okay. A little wary of Essence Scattering a creature, or even casting down, because I don't want to have to deal with this Scrounger again. Ugh. Being taken off white here was really bad. Yeah, sure. 1/1 doesn't really matter. What to do? I don't want to cast this down in combat, because then I just get Blossoming Defense and take a lot of damage. I'm in a really awkward spot that I don't have like a Glimmer or anything like that. I think I am going to attempt to cast this down now. They might just let it die and bring back Scrounger, but this is also fine. Okay, deck is being pretty uncooperative for the moment. We are not drawing Glimmers, we're not drawing, like, any sort of card advantage spell, and we're not drawing white for Teferi. So, I think I can afford to take another 4, because I'm going to look to counter one of these, and since they didn't do anything, now I'm going to commit this Branchwalker. So now I've got things mostly stabilized. I'm half tempted to just memory, just because, like, I'm just gonna die to this Llanowar Elves on the table. Sure, you have another Llanowar Elves. Could really use a Torrential Gearhulk at this point. Interesting that opponent isn't even trying with the Brontodon. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to burn this on a Land of War Elves, honestly. I could syncopate this for 3. Guess that's okay. Like I said, I need to get something going on. Oh, they've got the Llanowar Elves. Huh. Wow, I'm not even thinking. I guess this gained me some life. I'm probably gonna Essence Scatter this now. Okay. I need to get over how annoyed I am about not being able to cast my spells. Okay, that was a really good draw. My casting options are not my favorite right now, but that's fine. I don't need to gain life twice off of the Vraska's Contempt now that I'll be able to stabilize the board. This is a little annoying. So, I would really like to be able to counter this. God, it kills me that I don't have a card draw spell here. I think I'm just going to have to Gearhulk and get like a Fatal Push, push the Elves, and just admit that this Brontodon is going to get to kill my Gearhulk. Oh, I should have targeted Fatal Push. I might want that cast down later. Okay, so we've mostly cleaned up the board. I think opponent is going to use Brontodon to kill my Gearhulk. Otherwise, this will just dominate the board. They might even do it right now, because if I have a Disallow, I could stifle that, and that would be very bad for them. Okay, right now, need an Isolated Chapel. Ugh. They play the Steel Leaf Champion, I can Vraska's Contempt it, so that's fine. The worst case would be if they just have some sort of 2-mana creature, because they could play that and then still rebuy the Scrounger, which would be really irritating. I think this game is closer than it should be. If I hit a white source, I think I'm going to run away with it very fast, but if I don't... Huh, main phase. It's kind of weird. On their end step, I'm going to attempt to Vraska's Contempt this. I think I'm going to get, no, okay. I expected another Blossoming Defense just from how they chose to do that. Okay. Yep, sure. Oh god, and they've even got black creatures, or they've got creatures in the yard available. Okay, this was a good draw. I'm not sure when I'm supposed to do this. I'm gonna do this on my opponent's upkeep. So I have the negate if they have a Blossoming Defense, but if they have the Blossoming Defense, I want to make sure that they use their mana. Use their mana on their turn so they don't just untap and get access to it again. It's really weird. They've been very defensive with this Steel Leaf Champion, just never trying to do it. Okay, play a non-basic land. Do something. Okay, go away. Yes! Victory is ours.
This isn't a fight you can win.
Okay.
Let's take it back.
We're not completely out of the woods yet. I'm really short on actual answers. If they just play another Steel Leaf Champion, I'm in trouble. Yep. Could be in trouble, but I am now the person with the Planeswalker, so I will be drawing cards. Okay, we didn't need the second white source.
We need to move quickly.
Huh. I think I just play this and pass. Hopefully my opponent... Oh, crap. I always forget that you have to untap your opponent's lands. That's just such a weirdly templated ability. But hopefully they use an attack here, and then Teferi can tuck this again. Sure, that resolves. Kind of a weird time to do this, since they know they have a good card on top. Okay, that's... God, I wish they would just play a non-basic land. If I could trigger a Revolt off this Field of Ruin, things would be great.
This is hardly my worst defeat.
Okay. We need some help. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is so irritating. Think Teferi Tuck this is not going to be good enough, so I'm actually going to plus.
I won't hide from the world any longer. Keep up the pace.
What do we got? That is not the worst thing that's ever happened. They'll eat this here, but maybe I can find like a Torrential Gearhulk to try and stabilize against these Steel Leaf champions. Question is, do I think I'm likely to win this game if Teferi dies? I've got 2 more Torrential Gearhulks that I think would be very good draws. Most of my other things are pretty bad. I could just cycle this and try to find an answer here. I'm gonna try to play it out. Lose my Teferi, and the problem is that I basically have 1 turn to draw something really good.
Only time will tell.
Okay. Hail Mary, I guess? I mean, I just don't have enough lands for this to really work, but... God, we still didn't find the other Gearhulk. Yeah, I don't have any way to trigger Revolt. We're dead. Oh my gosh. So, let this be a lesson to everyone watching. Look at decks before you play them yourself, because no way in a million years do I play this deck, without a basic plans. Like, Field of Ruin is all over the place, especially because online there are a lot of control decks. Like, there are a lot more things like that. Okay, let's get in these other cast downs. We're at 60. Do I actually want any of these other things? Forsake for Scrap Heap Scrounger's cool, but I don't know if that's necessary. I think this is what I want my deck to look like. Oh my gosh. That game is so easy if I stick a Teferi 5 turns earlier and he just draws a million cards and everything. Oof. Okay, reset. Cool. Removal, Planeswalker, all sorts of general purpose answers. Keeping it. Another weird thing about this deck is that it doesn't have any, like, wraths. It doesn't have any way to just sweep the board and clean it up all at once. Like, not even, settle the wreckage or anything like that, which is really odd. Okay. If I had a Syncopate or a real counter, I think I would leave it up here. But since I don't, I'm just gonna get this going as quickly as possible. Filter my draws, hopefully help me hit some land drops. This card, man. I don't have double blue, so I think I need to bin that. Notably, Search for Azcanta is much better in these black-based decks than the white-based ones, because all my removal cards are actually spells. Like, I cast them and then they go to the graveyard, as opposed to, like, cast-outs and seal-aways and stuff that it can take a long time to fill up your graveyard. Okay, let's see what they got. Yep, drew them a land. Now they seal their non-basics. I'm gonna go ahead and Field of Ruin right now. Could have taken this opportunity to cast down this Branch Walker, but I don't know if that's what I need to be doing yet. I would really like to hit my second blue. Yep, get an island. Put it on the library. Sweet. Notably, I can no longer be Field of Ruined off of white, which is cool. And my opponent, unless they have another basic forest, can't slam a Steel Leaf Champion this turn, which is neat. So the way this might go, if they don't have anything good, they'll attack with these creatures. I'm just going to take it so I don't take a million extra damage from a Blossoming Defense. And then I'm going to try to Vraska's Contempt this. Sure. Yep. Okay. These explore creatures have generated them significant value. Luckily, I have the King of Value. I'm going to bin that. I really want to hit a land here. Yes! And this is great because the board isn't completely stable, but it is stable enough that I can take this opportunity to play Teferi and plus, so it's going to be a lot harder to kill him from here. Okay, they hit their land drop. Opponent still has a lot of cards in hand, even more than me, but I have the Planeswalker, and so that's... If I have to be 2 cards up or a Planeswalker up, I know which side I'm taking. Okay. I could lose my Teferi here, because they're going to target a creature. Resolves. We'll see if they do anything else. If they've got a Blossoming Defense, I'm just going to get blown out really hard. I'm going to make them attack first. If I were to cast down right now and they had Blossoming Defense, then they could send this to me, and I don't want that. Okay, cool, that worked. Yep. I am going to put this in the graveyard, because, again, I really want to hit a land this turn. Ew. Alright, let's uptick Teferi. Yeah, I don't want to sacrifice him to tuck something. That's not worth it. Land! Sweet, that actually works out. Yep, enters the battlefield tapped, that's fine. Sure. That's kind of neat that he can actually generate mana if your land drop was a tap land that turn. And now my opponent is in the position that I described earlier. They had the Doomfall, but even having Doomfall just means that you don't have to attack into the Torrential Gearhulk. Like, they still get super 2-for-1 tier. It's like, okay, they Doomfall. These are all great cards, and so they're happy to take any of them. But, like, it's not like they get ahead by taking any of them. They're still in a lot of trouble. Okay, Ronas, that's a good card. I don't need a 7th land. That's fine. And then draw a 7th land anyway. Cool. Could tuck something, but I don't think that's nearly as good as drawing cards.
You know what? I'm not done yet.
Sure. just, I'm allowing it to untap my opponent's lands because I'm lazy and my opponent doesn't have anything to do with their mana. If they had a Scrap Heap Scrounger, I would just float mana and let it happen. I think I'm gonna go ahead and disallow this. I like my other two cards enough that I don't want them to get taken. I'm counting on being able to commit Ronas, for instance. And here, we talked about how a little while ago my opponent had more of a board and they were up to 6 cards. Now my board is basically as good. Okay. That's a weird choice. Like, they do know what I have in hand. Guess they're just forcing me to burn the commit now? So, send Ronas away. Get rid of this Kenra. Fairy takes a few damage, but their board is greatly diminished. And I think I'm about to flip Escanta. Yeah, I am. Which is nice. This is a great card once you have it going. Bin that, because I don't want it. Okay, that's this game. Oh, and we get to do... This is, like, my favorite thing to be doing in Standard. Oh, that's so brutal. But activating Escanta main phase, and then plussing to Fairy, and getting to Escanta again, is awesome. Okay. This is probably what my opponent was going for, because it does make this a very scary attacker. But I have a cast down, so it's not actually going to get anywhere. Cast down, not tapping me out of blue or tapping Escanta, so this actually just works out perfectly. Kill a guy. This is always weird to me when, like, the animations are going and it's ticking down my clock. I find that mildly offensive, but... Okay, so we've got, like, 6 lands on the bottom of our deck, so we should be drawing okay. Sure, take another Vraska's Contempt.
Let's skip to the good part.
Already made my land drop this turn. I'm gonna wait one more turn before I start to attack, just because with activating Escanta twice a turn, my mana's a little pinched. I suppose, actually, I had Vraska's Contempt plus Disallow up, so that was being overly cautious. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just disallow this. That's fine. Now they don't have enough mana to play Ronas and Pump, so if they play Ronas, I just get to Vraska's Contempt that, and I don't have to be scared. Okay. Glad I have all these Vraska's Contempts. Getting rid of this forever. Opponent is almost out of resources. Sure, that's a fine way to handle this. Let's see. I'll still have Contempt up. Let's plus to Fairy first.
Keep up the pace.
Not a great draw. I'll still have Contempt up if I activate this, and then I want the option of activating it again. Ooh. Normally I'd be looking for a Glimmer, but I am up so many cards right now, I really don't need that effect. Counter it. I would counter basically anything at this point. I'm up so many cards I don't need to be choosy. Yep. Sure. All the Vraska's Contempts in the world. The reason I did play this list, even if there were some things that I would change, was that I really appreciated having access to white, like getting to play Teferi and stuff, but still playing the full 4 Vraska's Contempt. I think having a lot of these cards is very important right now. Like, especially out of the black-red deck, every card that annoys you can still be handled by this. Whether it's Hazoret or Rekindling Phoenix or whatever. Well, that's kind of sad. Let's go ahead and look for an answer. Maybe I'll find a disallow or something. Yeah! Even if I'd whiffed there and gotten actual nothing, like, it didn't really matter. I had Vraska's Contempts, and even hitting Teferi for 5, he would still get to draw me cards, so I was gonna be fine. Yeah, there maybe is an argument for boarding in Duress to handle, like, Doomfalls and, Nisas and stuff like that, but I don't think that's a good idea. I think this hand is a little too bad. I don't have anything. Okay. This hand has some problems, but it can go places. I might just get run over. That is not what we need. I need an isolated chapel. That's kind of close. At least I'll get search down. With this, they are going to be able to play their powerful 3-drops real early, or that, I guess. Okay. I am going to go ahead and play Search for Azcanta. I was going to talk about how there was an argument towards playing another irrigated farmland so that I could have Disallow up next turn, but with Field of Ruin, there's no reason to do that. I'm going to put Teferi in the graveyard. I need to find more answer stuff to do. Okay, I like this. We're under a lot of pressure, so I need to get something going. But Field of Ruining their Heshep Oasis? Oh. Well, that needs to not happen. This would be game over. I can't beat this card. Not as I am now. So, I'm glad that I didn't do anything hasty and got to leave Disallow up. I think I'm actually going to put that on top. I'm going to play this tapped, and now I can get rid of this Heshep Oasis, because the Oasis is scary because it makes these Llanowar Elves like real threats. And this also fixes my mana, so now that I can Fatal Push this Scrap Heap Scrounger. And they did not leave up Blossoming Defense, so I'm going to go ahead and hit this Scrounger while I know I can. Now, opponent has like one turn to play something really scary, and I might be in trouble, since I'm planning on taking a turn off to Glimmer. But I think it's worth the risk. Okay. That's annoying more than scary. Okay, they took the Gear Hulk, which is interesting. I would have taken the Glimmer here. So without Glimmer, my hand isn't really doing anything. If I still had the Gear Hulk, I think I would keep this, because I would like to tap land and Glimmer here. Oh, this is so much worse. I'm not doing anything else. I don't need to pretend, so I'm going to go ahead and main phase Glimmer here. I don't think I like Syncopate. I do like Cast Down. Okay. I think I'm in a decent spot now, actually. Ooh. I certainly like getting to Glimmer again. So now I can leave up my removal. Opponent doesn't really have anything going on. These Llanowar Elves don't really count, especially because I can just fire off a couple spells and kill them. And then Vraska's Contempt the Scrounger once they get it back. Getting to Glimmer here would be pretty nice. Let's see. Okay, I was expecting an Oasis activation on one of these, in which case I would just burn my removal spells this turn. I'm glad they did not do that. Okay. Life total's getting a little low, but unless draws are really unkind to us, I think we're going to be okay. I regret bottom or binning that land. Yeah, I think this is just what I want. I think I just want lands. Sweet. I don't need that many lands. I'm going to go ahead and transform this because my opponent has a Field of Ruin, but I have a spare. So, okay. And this is actually going to generate a mana for me. So I can go ahead and cast down Llanowar Elves. This is actually going to be sweet. So this resolves. I'm going to get a Swamp and then play a Drowned Catacombs. So even if they bring back Scrounger, I have double black up to Vraska's Contempt it. I don't get to play my Search for Azcanta this turn, but whatever. That's fine. We are kind of close to turning the corner. Draw for turn. I think... Oh, that's a little unfortunate of a draw, but that's fine. I don't think I can afford to play around Blossoming Defense here. Because if I were to Vraska's Contempt this immediately, like right now, then Hash Up Oasis on this Llanowar Elves puts me to 2. Maybe that's still better, because... Yeah, I think it is, because Blossoming Defense just wins the game. Like, straight up kills me. I guess it still does, so... Yeah. Whatever. Okay. Okay, I definitely think opponent should have Oasis there. So let's see, I will play this. I'm going to cycle this Fetid Pools. I was looking for black earlier, but we found it. We don't need any more. For blue and blue, sure. I'm going to make it look like I'm leaving up a Disallow. Maybe they play around it or something. That's fine. Okay. I am going to push this Elves. And then cycle this other Irrigated Farmland. Okay. Still need just a little bit of help. We need to find good draws off of Draw Steps and Search for Azcanta activations. But if we get anything good, say like that, sure. Okay. I think that is probably game. Hell, I can even play this guy and tuck the Llanowar Elves. Now I'm really safe this turn.
I can no longer stand by and watch.
I guess I need to be scared of exactly Nissa Vital Force as the one card on top, but I'm willing to play around, or play into that. Okay, that is perfectly acceptable. Draw with Teferi. Go ahead and take the cast down. Let's see, I have 5 mana up. So if I cast down here, I still have Disallow up. That seems great. Oh, and +2 because of Teferi, untapping some lands here. Yeah, I think that's the game. We were really behind, and then things were pretty close, and now I think should just have this game pretty easily. Go ahead and kill this, just because anything can be a threat with the Oasis. Notably, it can take a long time to actually end the game, just because Azcanta cannot find Torrential Gearhulk. Sure, Essence Scatter, why not?
You know what? I'm not done yet.
End turn, untap my lands, and yeah, now it's just a matter of finding a Gearhulk. Hopefully Glimmer can help with that, and Gearhulk will end the game. Do I really need this much of that type of stuff? I don't think I need another Disallow. I have so many counters. Never say no to another Vraska's Contempt, though. Sure. Fatal Push. I was looking for just another cheap answer to keep this off the table.
We need to move quickly.
Okay, perfect. Float of mana. Yeah, and I just don't actually have anything to do. So I'm just going to end turn and pitch this Syncopate. If my opponent does anything, I'll, yeah, just stop it with the Torrential Gearhulk. Yeah. Okay, they saw that I finally had a way to end the game, and they saw the writing on the wall. So, I knew this was going to take a while. I don't think I realized exactly how long it was going to take. Okay. Yeah, sure, free cards. Thanks, Wizards. I think I'm just going to play 2 more matches, no matter how they go, because I don't want to play all 6 and just have this be like a 4-hour video. That seems ridiculous. No one wants to watch that. Okay. Playing against the roundest, cutest Pokemon there is. I'm going first, which is cool. This hand might just lose, but it's got my colors, it's got a hard counter, and it's got a way to win. I don't think a random 6 is much better than this. And every time you mulligan, you're just taking a chance of mulliganing into Oblivion and just losing the game. This was a very bad draw. Okay. This matchup is very hard, for reasons pictured here. Oh man, if these were in the other order, I would be so far ahead this game, and instead I'm just really, really not. Sure. Don't have a lot of other options. Yeah, sure. Syncopate that. Could really go for like a Vraska's Contempt here, not Swamp. That is the worst draw in my deck. Because Vraska's Contempt would let me exile this and then Gearhulk to exile something else, really get ahead. That definitely cannot be allowed to happen. Okay, so the Torrential Gearhulk, just by virtue of being a giant monster, kind of handles the Scrounger. Oh my gosh. I think this is the turn where we lose the game. Opponent's going to be able to stick something great, and I can't do anything about it. Kinda counts, I guess? They don't have any other follow-up, then maybe I was wrong. Oh my god. I know I'm playing 28 lands, but come on. It's like we've seen 9 and 12 cards. I'm definitely not playing 45 lands. Okay, I think I do need to take the damage here. I need to wring every bit of value out of this Gearhulk that I can. Opponent's playing smart, though. They don't need to cast any more spells. I guess if Teferi finds me a Vraska's Contempt, I could be in the game. Probably not, but I think this is my best chance.
I know my responsibility. Let's skip to the good part.
I mean, I guess I don't lose yet, but... Another thing I'm worried about is playing Torrential Gearhulk out without another counter, because one of their cards that they wouldn't be playing yet that they might have is just, So I'm going to go ahead and cycle this, since Teferi is going to untap the lands anyway. Is that a good idea? Or should Teferi just tuck this? I haven't handled any other creatures, so they're not rebuying this one. Yeah, I'm just gonna send Scrounger Friend away and leave up Gearhulk plus Disallow, or Gearhulk with Disallow. They might be killing their own guy here so they can rebuy it. Yeah. Interesting play. So, the card that I was about to talk about that I'm scared of is, I think if I play out this Torrential Gearhulk, I'm just going to lose to Unlicensed Disintegration on the spot. It's a little safer now if I'm using the Gearhulk to stifle Scrounger, but it's still not great. I am hanging on by a thread and not in a great spot, but if the next turn or so goes well for me, we might be okay. Oh, come on. My clock's ticking down when I've clearly passed priority. Won't let me do anything else. Okay. Oh man, if it auto passes the rest of my turn and I don't get to Gearhulk to stifle that, I'm going to be very unhappy. Oh boy. Sometimes this game is so polished and perfect that I never want to play anything else, and other times it works really hard to remind me that it's still a beta. Okay, didn't even pass priority or use up one of my timers. This game might just be about to fail, like it'll just end. I'm not sure. Right, I'm gonna just go ahead and stop this recording for now, and I'll start it up again if the game gets to be going. Okay, so the way that worked out was that I was just sort of caught in limbo forever. I wasn't even able to exit the program, so I had to manually restart everything, and I sent an error message to Wizards. It looks like that match did not count in either direction, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop right back in. Depending how this goes, this might be my last match for this video, because playing 3.5 matches with this deck is just asking for it to take forever. And I don't want everyone to, like, get 45 minutes into a 3-hour video and get bored. Okay, this hand seems pretty good. It's got my colors. I can blow up a random Scrap Heap Scrounger or cycle this if this card's bad. And then I've got Permission and Teferi. Plus I'm on the play, so I'm not as likely to get run over from not having any, like, 2-drop interaction. Opponent going to 6. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and play... I've already got 4 lands, so there is an argument to just playing the island, because that'll make these enter untapped. Yeah, I think that's actually better. If I draw 2 more lands in the first 2 turns, I'm gonna want to be able to cycle this. And the opportunity cost is really low. Like, I can easily just play this on turn 4. Okay, looks like it's some sort of mirror. Probably gonna hold on to this then, because I want to be able to exile a Search for Azcanta. That was a great draw. Go ahead and play this. My hand is quite good for this matchup. I'm just gonna go ahead and... Do I want to fire this off, or do I want to hold it? I don't need to fix my mana, and I'm not disrupting their mana meaningfully, so... Okay, now that I'm more in danger of missing a land drop, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in tapped. If I'd drawn a couple more lands, I would have held on to it, but I really need to make sure that I'm hitting my land drops on time. Don't want to cycle this and then not draw lands and look like a fool. Okay, these are the 2 worst draws in my deck, and I hit them both in a row. It's unfortunate. Oh man, I wish I had a Glimmer of Genius. I really need to start a fight like now, but... Okay. That is not that bad, because this still lets me leave a counter up, and I'm committing a meaningful card to the board. Cool. Hope that they don't have their Forsake for the Worldly. Okay, and they didn't glimmer or anything either. If they glimmered and I'd feel obligated to counter it, and then they untapped and played Teferi, I would have been in trouble. Hey, Search, what do you got for me? I'm gonna bin that, because it's awful. Okay, I'll go ahead and play this tapped. Spot is still a little tenuous. My opponent is almost certainly playing blue-white with Approach the Second Sun as their win condition, which is scary, because I have a whole lot of cards that don't interact with what they are doing. It's possible that I should be cycling this. My opponent hasn't shown... I'm gonna go ahead and bin that. That might be greedy, but... Okay. I think I'm just going to continue playing this. I think I still do want to hit my land drops. I've got big, expensive spells. But yeah, I don't have that many cards that interact with how my opponent wants to win the game. They don't do anything this turn. I think I am going to cycle this. There's some argument to holding on to it, because what's likely to happen as the game goes on is that eventually I stick this Torrential Gearhulk or Teferi, and then they cast it out. And if they cast it out, I want to be able to blow it up and get my thing back, but... Huh, that was odd. It's like my opponent's playing in full control and they started to do something but thought better of it. It's just a little weird. Ooh, yes. That is what I was looking for. Opponent still didn't have anything. That's cool. They don't do anything. I think I actually won't fire off this Glimmer. I don't want to start a fight if they're going to discard to hand size. Okay. I'm totally fine with this because I can just kill all the Night tokens with my Fatal Pushes that were otherwise going to be dead. Could also forsake the Worldly to get rid of the other Knight, but I think I'll be able to get more value out of this than a second Fatal Push. Okay. I'm just trying to leave up black here because on their end step I might use that opportunity for the Fatal Pushes. We shall see. Okay. Syncopate, reasonably good. Fatal Push, awful. So, we could go with that. And then, to avoid discarding to hand size, my opponent is unlikely to have anything too scary here. Okay, they have their own Wrath. That seems fine. Dude, I want to do anything else here. I don't have a good way to make something leave the battlefield. I don't think I need two of that effect. Okay. So, what I'm going to do here, this is leaving up not Great Lands, so... Okay, that was a little awkward. Just trying to make sure it tapped the way I wanted to. And I think I'm actually going to just tuck this Wrath. Okay, yeah, they didn't want to play anymore because starting there, it was going to get really difficult to pressure my Teferi. Okay, so Fatal Pushes were actually okay there, but I think they are mostly going to be very bad. Cast Down is likely just blank, so definitely don't want that. Essence Scatter is probably okay. They probably have Approach of the Second Sun. Duresses are excellent. Need 2 more cards. Gonna go with 2 negates. Oh, my opponent has conceded the match. Okay. So, it's possible that they were more of like a blue-white mid-range deck and just not set up to fight that matchup. I'm not sure. So, I will give it another go because that was really fast. So, saw most of a game against mono-red and most of a game against blue-white, and so we'll basically get 3 full matches in. One thing that's really awkward about playing Control, probably in Paper too, but I've especially noticed it on Arena, is that the meta appears to be extremely polarized. Yeah. Unfortunately, these fields cannot fix for white, so I'm going to need to find a real white source for these Teferis, but we got some interaction, so. But the field is very polarized, where everyone's either playing mono-red or like blue-based Control, and there's like nothing in between, and so you just look at a given hand, and it's really difficult to tell if that hand is going to be what you want. Serious problem with this hand is I drew double Field of Ruin, and unless my opponent's playing black, I just won't... Okay, good. So I will be able to activate these. Okay. This would be a good draw if I could fix for white with this stupid Field of Ruin. Ah. Not having a plains in this deck is just the bane of my existence. Okay, we'll see what happens here. Unfortunately, I cannot cast down this Heart of Kiran, so... Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and kill this Beaumont Courier. What I'm gonna do, because I'm not that likely to hit untapped white this turn, is I'm just going to untap and Doomfall to get rid of the Chain Whirler. Keep the board as clear as I can. I'm probably going to die to this, but... And it's possible I'm even supposed to Doomfall their hand, but... I don't know. Now maybe I'm supposed to pass with Disallow up? I'm just dying so fast. Problem is I don't know if that gets better. This stupid Forsake the Worldly and not having white mana. Okay, I think I actually am going to pass. I'm going to use my life total as a resource a bit here. Try to disallow a Hazoret or a Chandra or a Rekindling Phoenix or something. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so bad for me. Especially because they can already buy it back. I'm just dead. This game's over. Well, that was just the absolute brutality that comes with this matchup. Get my Essence Extraction in. Syncopates are pretty medium, so I'll trim that down. Commit is just too slow. Doomfall is awkward because it gets rid of problematic things like Phoenix or Hazoret, but it also just nabs like a Soulscar Mage or a Beaumont Courier a lot of the time, so maybe I'll cut that. I'm gonna cut the Negate. They've got some good non-creature spells, but it's just too conditional. And then I wish I'd seen a little more, like if I'd known if they were playing Earthshaker Kenra or something. They probably aren't, so this would really just kill Beaumont Courier. So I'll play these, and that's 60. This is good against both Heart of Kiran and Scrap Heap Scrounger, so maybe I'm supposed to bring that in? I don't hate that. Actually, I think I'm going to trim it to Teferi because it's pretty difficult to keep him on the table. That could be sacrilege, that I just need this card to get me into the game, but I think I'm better off if I just have good enough removal. Well, I actually have my colors this time, and I'll be able to syncopate on 2, and then try to take over. Wish I had some removal, but I think this hand is good enough that I have to keep it. Swamp being great here, since it lets both of these enter untapped. It's possible I was supposed to mull that hand last time. Like, maybe, maybe double Teferi and 1 removal spell just isn't good enough, since I don't even have the lands to cast the Teferi. I also drew kind of poorly, though. Like, not drawing a white source and drawing another white spell. The only white spell besides the 3rd Teferi, so... Well, this is a good draw. Now I mostly just need to hit lands. Definitely going to syncopate this. This is a fine draw. If there's a Chain Whirler, I'll just look to cast it down. If it's something more resilient. Ugh. I think I might have to Essence Scatter that. That leaves me really vulnerable to like a Hazoret or something, but I really just need to keep the board clear. Really need a land here. Oh my gosh. Yep, sure. I'm not gonna bother killing this now. I think I need to be able to keep myself alive through something more dangerous. Opponent's got a lot of cards in hand, so they're not in danger. They are not likely to activate this very soon. Okay, that's a land. Opponent missed their land drop and only played a Beaumont Courier, so their hand is probably loaded with the big scary threats that are really hard to answer. The Chandras and the Phoenixes and the Hazarets. Okay, they hit their land. If I gotta avoid drawing a land, this is a decent draw. Is there anything that I would feel the need to kill it immediately? Probably not, because their Hazoret isn't even going to be able to attack. So I'm just gonna do this right now in case I find tap lands. Don't think I need another cast down. Okay. Can draw another land next turn. We'll be in decent shape. Get down like Search for Azcanta and Vraska's Contempt something. Yep.
You want to play with fire, huh?
We'll see what they do. They might add mana to commit another threat to the board or something. Yep.
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah. Do I let them have another turn with Chandra? That's pretty dangerous, because they'll get to do all sorts of fun stuff. But I could commit Search and use my mana really efficiently to Search and Forsake on this Heart of Kiran. That still avoids me taking a lot of damage. I think I'm going to do that. I just really need the think tank, like scrying 1 every turn to try and find something good to do. I need lands. Well, I'm going to go ahead and main phase this, because I will just die if they get to Duress me here. Notably, Duress can't take Torrential Gearhulk, and Gearhulk on Contempt is like my most likely win condition this game. So that's nice. And this is awkward for my opponent, because they're kind of incentivized to take the Contempt to protect their Chandra, but then if I manage to, yeah, now if I manage to get another land, this Gearhulk is really going to mess them up. Okay.
You're going down.
Probably going to play a Glorybringer this turn? No, Angrath. Okay, that is scarier.
fire, no steel.
I'm gonna go ahead and ditch this Glimmer. I don't really have time to be doing that right now. Sure. I think I got to... What do I think? Actually, it's a decent use of my turn to draw this and play it. Because then I can Teferi and uptick and leave up cast down.
If you show remorse, we need to move quickly.
Okay. Drew a card. That's... I would be fine with drawing pretty much anything because I'm counting on being able to ditch it to Angrath. Okay. Basically, this turn I need to not get my hand Doomfalled. I'm not casting down immediately. Okay, well now I have to. But I was playing around my opponent playing like a Glorybringer or something off of Chandra. This is cool. Duress whiffs. I think my opponent is actually supposed to Angrath first. Usually you want your opponent to be operating with as little information as possible about what they are going to be discarding. Okay, card's annoying, but beatable. And now I kind of have to...
No fire, no steel.
Definitely don't want that. Sure, I'll transform this. Draw. Ooh, that's nice. Let's see. So if I main phase Gear Hulk, I have to get rid of Chandra. I can't beat this emblem. This emblem is game over. Angrath can punch me for 5, which is unfortunate. But if I... Oh, Teferi didn't get hurt, so I can use Teferi's minus to clear out a lot of the board here. But then he'll die to the Phoenix. Let's see. Teferi, Tuck Phoenix, main phase, Gear Hulk, exile this. Angrath can't really do that much. I guess Angrath could use Gear Hulk to clear Teferi. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the Gear Hulk. I'm going to Vraska's Contempt. Exile Chandra. Now, I'm going to uptick Teferi.
Skip to the good part.
I'm going to play this land. Now, on my end step, I'm going to untap these lands, and I'll have Essence Extraction to fog the Phoenix by hitting it for 3 with the Essence Extraction. Sure, that's fine.
True for my freedom. A fair price.
Is both going at me? Interesting. And then I will probably be main phase activating as Kanta the Sunken Ruin, because I really want to make sure I can get rid of this egg. Or I don't have to, that's cool. So I can go ahead and push this egg, which is cool. I can downtick Teferi. And then I can clear Angrath with my Torrential Gear Hulk. Okay. If my opponent has something good here that can like clear my Teferi, they might be okay. But I get to activate as Kanta, so overall I think I'm in a very good spot. I think my opponent needed to send both of those creatures at Teferi. Like, it was pretty tempting to try and punch me down to 4 and still have some good creatures left over. Okay. I'm going to activate this. Probably not going to try to do anything. Oh, well. I can syncopate for 2. Perfect. And that should be game. It's going to be very difficult. My opponent can't do anything else with this turn. And then I draw a hard counter.
Keep up the pace.
It's so awkward whenever a revealed card just sits on top. Very deceptive. Yeah. And this game is over in every way except my opponent hasn't conceded yet. I even have double disallow up. I don't even need to activate Escanta. They're just walled out of this game. Not allowing that. Another Vraska's Contempt. Awesome.
No time for a break.
Cool. Okay, and we're on to game 3. I think I like where my deck is at. I think I like the Forsakes. It was really good there to be able to hit that Heart of Kiran. I've got just enough removal for the small creatures while also having the quad Vraska's Contempt for the big scary stuff. If I could play 5 Vraska's Contempt, I would, but that's not an option. And overall, I think this is fine. I think that game came down to the turn where I drew the Forsake the Worldly and was able to get Search for Azcanta and Forsake down, because that answered the board and kept me alive, and then also filtered my draws enough that I didn't have a bunch of clunky, awkward draws and fall really far behind. Opponent continuing to sideboard. I wonder if my opponent has a land in their sideboard. A lot of people have the 26th land in their black-red decks, and I kind of like that. I've been thinking about adding that to my own list, because I think you do win with the black-red deck by going bigger, by getting your really difficult-to-answer threats like the Phoenix or Chandra or Hazoret. But if you board in too much of that, your curve is just way too high. And it gets to the point where even if, I should say, the black-red deck doesn't have to cast spells for the first few turns. If it has a clunky draw, it can still win just because its cards are so powerful. But if you do that and then miss your 5th land drop, the game is often just kind of over. And like my opponent missed their 4th there when we saw how many 4 and 5 drops they had, and that was just kind of fatal. Sure, I guess. Hard counter, flexible removal, early removal to keep myself alive. I just need lands. Glacial Fortress would be great. I'm gonna hold the Fatal Push even if they played a Beaumont Courier. I'm really looking to push like a Heart of Kiran with this. This one, though, they don't have another card in the graveyard, and they're not likely to get one, given the nature of my other removal. And this way, since I didn't have anything else to do this turn, I can stick this Search and hopefully continue to hit my land drops. 3 is not the scary turn from my opponent. Like, they get to dress me here, whatever. My hand's relatively resilient to that. The scary turn is 4. That's when I want to have my counters up. Which they stole it, so that's sad. Put that on top, because this is the card I wanted. I don't have anything else to do, so... Oh, no, the center's tapped! Oh, that's so bad. Swamp has betrayed me. Oh, they missed their 3rd land drop. Okay. I will put that on top. Now, I was talking about how I was going to Doomfall, but I really want to Glimmer this turn, so I'm just going to pass. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have anything to do again. Nope, they hit their land. That's fine. Still nothing to do. Okay, their hand must be loaded with powerful things, but I am set up to deal with that. I don't think I want this Essence Extraction. I don't think that's what this game is about. Sure. I'm gonna go ahead and bin that. I found enough lands. Really want to find like a Torrential Gearhulk here now. And I will fire off this Field of Ruin. Okay. Is this worth a Contempt? I don't really think so, but I don't want to push it either. I'm just doing this to fill up my graveyard as quickly as possible. I really want to flip this search. I think I can just take a few hits from this. Do I want that? Kinda? Not really. I can do better. I did do better.
This isn't a fight.
I'm just gonna uptick here.
I'm not done yet.
Despite what I said before, I probably am going to Fatal Push this Scrounger, just as a way of fogging it, even if they want to use their mana to rebuy it, just to keep Teferi around. No. There's basically nothing they can stick here that actually scares me that much. Like, Chandra, Hazoret, Rekindling Phoenix, I can handle any of them. I am going to cycle this Irrigated Farmland, just because I'm going to flip Azcanta anyway, and Teferi's likely to find me land drops, so I don't think a land is as important. Yep, this card just does not matter at the moment. Cool. Finding a counter is sweet. I will bin that because it doesn't matter. Get my land drop. I suppose I should have activated Teferi first, but I'm probably just going to cycle this because, as I said, I've got plenty of lands now. Let's see. If I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what I'll probably do is just pass. Look to counter. Oh, that was a mistake. I should have done something with my mana on my turn. Even just cycled this Fetid Pools. Yeah, this was a really bad mistake. I forgot what Teferi does. I hope that doesn't cost me. What I might do here, I think I'm actually just going to Contempt this. Still leaving up Syncopate, so I'll be able to counter anything particularly scary, and I've still got good answers for another Hazoret. Or for the Hazoret, and Hazoret isn't doing anything yet. Chain Whirler, I think I just let that resolve and activate Azcanta. Decent odds that I just end up finding a cast down or something like that that is otherwise not useful, whereas Syncopate is going to be able to handle basically anything. Okay, hard counter, that's fine. I am going to remember to main phase do something this time. Okay. Play the Drowned Catacomb. What do I do here? I think I am going to use this for the Edict mode. Just keep my opponent's board somewhat clear. They might exit. Oh, Hazoret. No? Okay, good. They hit the Goblin. That's fine. And again, my opponent just missed too many land drops. They're stuck on 4. They're likely only able to cast 1 spell a turn, which is really bad for them, because I can counter, and I'm drawing 3 cards a turn with Teferi, my draw step, and Azcanta. This game is basically locked up unless I keep making mistakes like I did a couple turns ago. Okay, opponent just did nothing, which is fine by me. I can do this and still leave up a counter. I don't think I need more card draw. I just want to have all the Vraska's Contempts in the entire world. And I will go ahead and cycle this. Maybe my opponent can do something with their mana while I'm tapped low, but probably not. Okay, sweet. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and main phase activate this, since I'm going to uptick to Fury anyway. Find a Fatal Push, sure. Might end up just pitching that Fatal Push, depending. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to. Or, let's see. No, because I think I'm going to want a Torrential Gear Hulk, so yeah. I think I'm just going to pass. Have an embarrassment of riches. Wondering what's in my opponent's hand that they didn't even try. Like, is it just all 5-drops? No, I figured at least one Unlicensed Disintegration. They kind of have to leave those in just because otherwise Torrential Gear Hulk is such a beating. But, it really hurts to draw one when I haven't played a Gear Hulk yet. Well, I just got rid of that Fatal Push, so that's a little sad. Maybe should have gotten rid of a Syncopate instead. Gonna get just a little bit greedy here. Go ahead and let that card go under there. I'm actually going to Gear Hulk, Contempt the Hazoret, and attempt to block. If they have another Unlicensed Disintegration, I can counter it, so... I guess this isn't even all that... Yeah. Opponent had seen enough. It's so difficult to come back when I'm just drawing 3 cards like that a turn. Okay, so... Like I said, you basically saw 3 matches, and this video would just be way too long if I did the whole league, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it there. I hope you enjoyed seeing the Esper control deck in current standard.